The Coast Guard's primary concern is still the safety of the people on Hawaii and Coast Guard members and their families. Any assets that were going to be flown into Hawaii prior to the storm have made it there. They are staged and ready to go as soon as it is safe to respond. We are also waiting for the storm to pass so that we can have the ports reconstituted. We can continue to do ports, working with FEMA or other to help prioritize which vessels come into the port as soon as possible. That's all.
Correct. Thank you, Admiral. Corps of Engineers, we have Ray.
I tell you what, this is a brand new live, so I'll replay it when it returns. But I want to hear it. What's going on? Come on, Mr. FEMA, man. Tell us what's going on. Hurricane Lane updates. They're expecting catastrophic flooding and major damage. But I didn't get the full story. I looked on the radar, I didn't see a lot. Here we go.
Not just FEMA's obligation, but it all appropriately to get involved. And
this guy never talks loud enough.
Neighbor Helping Neighbor. If you're looking to get involved, we would ask you to also visit nvoad.org, nvoad.org. So with that, we'll stop and take any questions you may have. Yes, ma'am.
Anything have been said about how farmers are preparing, what crops might be affected, anything along those lines?
Jeff, I don't have anything on agriculture at this point. This is Jeff Byard.
Our current priorities, as the administrator laid out, are life-saving, life-sustaining, the food, water, sheltering, and safety and security. However, that's our one of our emergency support function partners. So we will check with the appropriate agency on that. But however, we want to focus our efforts on saving lives and then making sure that we have adequate food, water, and sheltering. And then as we go post storm, we'll start doing the assessments in that sense.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes.
Next question. Yes, ma'am.
The power outage. I think you had mentioned that temporary power was put in place already. Can you just talk a little bit about what parts of the islands and how much?
No, what we have in place are temporary power subject matter experts and planning response teams. So they are forward. They're working with state, local officials in identifying the requirements so that as we get mission assignment to actually begin installation of generators, we're prepared to do that. Okay.
In line with that question, I think it's very important to point out here again, HECO, which is Hawaii's private power company that is largely in charge of restoring power, not FEMA, not the Army Corps of Engineers. Our mission is designed to backfill their capability. So, for example, we mobilize a lot of generator capability that we have ready to go to support critical infrastructure until the power is turned back on. And then when it comes to HECO, typically the well-organized power companies have robust mutual aid agreements in place. And the role that the federal government plays in that is helping them to facilitate those mutual aid agreements, such as getting equipment and teams from CONUS United States into the ports, into the waterways, so that they can deploy out. But we have verified with HECO that they do have very strong reserves when it comes to equipment and supplies to be able to quickly fix the energy grid. But here again, let's set expectations. They're called disasters because stuff is broken after the fact. And citizens need to realize that we're looking at major hurricane impacts and things are going to break. And we need to set the expectations that the power could go off for quite some time and the infrastructure is going to be heavily impacted. Next question. Okay, thank you, folks. Impacts to energy lifelines, communications, transportation, health and medical critical lifelines. So here again, it's a unified effort that we are ready to support our state and local partners. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Goldstein with the NOAA's National Weather Service to give us the latest update. Steve.
Okay, the latest advisory issued from the Central Pacific Hurricane Center, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 o'clock Hawaii time, still has Hurricane Lane remaining a powerful Category 3 hurricane with winds of 120 miles an hour. It is approximately 160 miles southwest of Kona and 200 miles south of Honolulu. It is moving north very slowly, only 5 miles an hour. This general motion is expected to continue through the day, before it makes a turn to the west sometime Saturday and begins to speed up. On this track, the hurricane will pass dangerously close to the Hawaiian Island chain through the day today, into tonight, and Saturday. Lane may weaken as it approaches, but it's expected to maintain hurricane strength as it approaches the islands. Dangerous flooding will continue on the Big Island. The threat for tropical storm force or even hurricane force winds will continue for the next 24 to 36 hours, especially at the higher elevations. This is expected to be a long-duration flood event, as the threat for heavy rain may continue after the hurricane passes to the west. High surf, rising waters, and storm surge could inundate, overwash coastal areas, especially during high tide this afternoon, Hawaii time. The next advisory from the Central Pacific Hurricane Center will be issued at 11 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Hawaii time.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Next up, we have from the United States Coast Guard, Admiral Austin, that we would like to bring up. And as I said yesterday, the Coast Guard plays a tremendous role in bolstering search and rescue capabilities. Also, they play a tremendous role in helping us to maintain access to waterway ports and a whole host of other things. So thank you, Admiral.
Thank you, Administrator. Good morning, everyone. The Coast Guard's primary concern is still the safety of the people on Hawaii and Coast Guard members and their families. Any assets that were going to be flown into Hawaii prior to the storm have made it there. They are staged and ready to go as soon as it is safe to respond. We are also waiting for the storm to pass so that we can have the ports reconstituted. We can continue to do post-storm damage assessments, working with FEMA or other local partners as well as industry to help prioritize which vessels come into the port as soon as possible so that we can get resources flowing back in there. That's all I have.
Correct. Thank you, Admiral. Next up from the Army Corps of Engineers, we have Ray Alexander with us today. As I said yesterday, the Army Corps of Engineers plays a tremendous role as well through the unified effort. Not only will they help with the emergency power mission, helping HECO, the private power industry that runs power on the island with emergency power, but they also help us to understand risk analysis when it comes to waterways, canals, dams, and bridges. So thank you. Ray.
Thank you, sir. And good morning. Under both FEMA and Army Corps authorities, the Corps is fully engaged, prepared to respond as needed. Our Pacific Ocean Division leadership, they're headquartered on Oahu. They are forward. Our subject matter experts for temporary power, debris removal, infrastructure assessment, they are all forward, and they are working with state and FEMA responders to coordinate and anticipate needs and assist in the planning efforts. Under FEMA mission assignment, we've already deployed temporary emergency power, debris, and infrastructure assessment subject matter experts and planning and response teams. They're on Oahu. They're on Kauai. We also have deployed a debris removal team forward and subject matter experts. And then finally, we're integrated fully with Coast Guard and NOAA to ensure that federal channels are quickly surveyed and opened. Yesterday, we were asked a question about the Alawai Canal in Waikiki. This is a state-controlled waterway. It is not an active flood risk management project. We did receive recently $345 million with emergency supplemental last summer to initiate a flood.
It seems kind of odd we have a
risk management project. Design will actually begin this fall, construction beginning in 2020, and the project is expected to be complete in 2023. It's a combination of multiple detention and water debris retention basins as well as a flood wall, pumping station, flood warning system. But that is not in place. The canal has flooded in the past, and I believe it's safe to say, based upon the forecasted rainfall,
we got major
it will
rain.
likely flood again.
We
but
got
the
a
impacts
fire.
of which
at
we're
that
not
low
prepared to
one.
say at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Yes, sir.
All right, and then also next up, as I said yesterday, one of the crucial partners that we have is the American Red Cross, who helps us with mass care and sheltering and rendering safety and security to the citizens that are impacted. Brad Kaiserman.
Thanks, sir.
Wendy now.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. As Hurricane Lane has lumbered towards the Hawaiian Islands, last night there were over 1,500 residents of Hawaii across the islands
A good-sized
who sought
fire.
shelter in temporary evacuation centers established by the counties. Over 1,000 of those folks
Didn't really burn that good during the volcano,
in
did it?
multiple shelters in Honolulu and Honolulu County. Expect to see additional shelters that may open today, centers that may open today, and I definitely expect to see an increase in population as the storm continues to approach. There are over 500 Red Cross volunteers across the islands working today. Nearly 250 of them are event-based volunteers. That's people who raised their hand and said, I haven't been affiliated with a volunteer organization before, but I'd like to help now. And so they have all been processed in. We continue to have a need for volunteers on the island, and people can do that by going to 1-800-RED-CROSS or by going online to redcross.org. But for now, we have adequate forces on the island, and we're working with our partners, the Salvation Army, who continue to do disaster feeding across the island. We'll keep you posted.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And I think it's worthwhile mentioning here again, disaster response is a whole community obligation, not just FEMA's obligation, but it also goes down to the citizen being appropriately prepared. So if you're looking to get involved and here again, it's been incredibly, it's a critical component of the whole community, neighbor helping neighbor. If you're looking to get involved, we would ask you to also visit nvoad.org, nvoad.org. So with that, we'll stop and take any questions you may have. Yes, ma'am.
Real quick question. We're looking at what's going on at the agriculture system in the state. We're wondering if anything had been said about how farmers are preparing, what crops might be affected, anything along those lines?
Jeff, I don't have anything on agriculture at this point. This is Jeff Byard, Office of Response and Recovery Director for FEMA.
Our current priorities, as the administrator laid out, are life-saving, life-sustaining,
viewers.
the food, water,
Aloha.
sheltering, and safety and
Live
security.
viewers.
Obviously, we want all
Welcome
to be
to Aloha
prepared,
Scope
both,
TV.
in the business sector
You're
and
watching
in the
live
agricultural
here
sector.
in Waikiki.
However,
We're going to check out to see.
That's our primary focus. We
Waikiki
do have
prepared.
USDA, with us, one of
Mahalos
our
for the
emergency support
prayers.
function partners. So
As
we
we,
will check
prepare
with the appropriate
for
agency on that.
Hurricane
But
Lane.
however, we want to focus our efforts on saving
aloha.
lives and then making sure that we have adequate food, water, and sheltering. And then at the as we go post storm, we'll start doing the assessments in that sense.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes.
Next question. Yes, ma'am.
The power outage, I think you had mentioned that temporary power was put in place already. Can you just talk a little bit about where, what parts of the islands and how much?
No, what we have in place
that
are
brush fire
temporary power subject
I thought they were
matter
raining.
experts and planning response teams. So they are forward. They're working with
Interesting.
the main media outlets, television stations,
state,
in
local
Hawaii
officials
right
and
now.
identifying the requirements
This is in Hawaii.
so that as we get mission assignment to actually begin installation of generators,
By
we're
the
prepared to do that. Okay.
In line with that question, I think it's very important to point out here again, HECO, which is Hawaii's private power company,
All the other fire,
is
right?
largely in charge of
Said the
restoring
one
power,
up there.
not FEMA, not the Army Corps of Engineers.
This one.
Our mission is designed to backfill
This fire.
their capabilities. So, for example, we mobilize a lot of generator capability that we have ready to go to support critical infrastructure until the power is turned back on. And then when it comes to HECO, typically the well-organized power companies have robust mutual aid agreements in place, and the role that the federal government plays in that is helping them to facilitate those mutual aid agreements, such as getting equipment and teams from CONUS United States into the ports, into the waterways, so that they can deploy out. But we have verified with HECO that they do have very strong reserves when it comes to equipment and supplies to be able to quickly fix the energy grid. But here again, let's set
USCF
expectations.
Fire
They're called disasters
Hawaii.
because stuff is broken after the fact, and citizens need to realize that we're looking at major hurricane impacts, and things are going to break. And we need to set the expectations that the power could go off for quite some time, and the infrastructure is going to be heavily impacted.
Now,
Next
serious
question.
flooding and landslides in Hawaii from Hurricane Lane.
Okay, thank you, folks.
6 minutes ago. It's not what I wanted. There we go. Well, I looked at the radar. I didn't see much. Oh, I guess I could have spelt it right. Still didn't. Maybe I'm getting tired. Oh, jeez, I am getting tired. I've been up all day yesterday and tonight. That's all right. I still got my wits. Let's go search it. Where'd it go? Sorta got my wits. All right. Where's it at? Yeah, I get the latest. Okay, there. No one's live. 18 yesterday. I just did this. What time is it in Hawaii? I wonder. Nothing live there. 3:44 a.m. So I guess it is kind of early.
Impacts to energy lifelines, communications, transportation, health and medical critical lifelines. So here again, it's a unified effort that we are ready to support.
People, do we have a signal?
Unleashes flooding and landslides. It's bullshit what? I see.
Thank you for joining. Aloha. Nellie is here. Leonard, Kiff. Thanks for doing this. Well, some
powerful
people out
storm
having
with an
fun
uncertain trajectory.
before the storm.
Get somewhat over the past day. The storm will.
Actually, quite a few
cause
people.
considerable
Well,
damage.
from Virginia.
More fire.
Aloha.
This is even apart from high
I
wind
was trying to
danger that will
scope
be
from a
much
little bit
greater
further
from
down
Maui.
or closer to where all the people are, but there just wasn't a good enough
Not seeing
signal.
anything. Oh, we got some generators.
So we'll scope from here. How is everybody doing? Welcome to a cloudy day, of course, as the hurricane gets closer.
Not such a big deal. Interesting. Where's my picture?
Lots of people surfing.
Well,
Surf's up exactly.
they are surfing. But that's not
Aloha, Elizabeth, Richard.
let me try a different search term.
And Marilyn.
Come on.
Let's see the surfers out there. Category 3.
Yes, we see you walking.
Thanks for the update, Melody.
Oh, look at the bird. Or is that a shell? That's a bird. It's a sand bird.
Friend here. People enjoying.
Okay. I guess no one wants to play.
The surf out here today. Aloha Chris and RD. Shaka, yes.
It's 10 o'clock in the morning here, so I'm expecting something.
Solier.
That's probably who the news report was for.
Aloha, welcome to Bristol Periscope. Lots of boogie boarding over here.
My search.
Great conditions for that.
Thank you.
Today.
What's the theme on this?
As the hotel. Hotels, the resorts, the stores, the local shops brace for impact.
Goes under this category.
I'm not a weatherman or a newscaster.
Oh, I was looking right at it right here. Oh, where'd it go?
But
I don't know why it's not.
just walking by, they're boarding up, taping up, closing down.
Stop moving. I have the app. It doesn't help me move any faster.
That as we get mission assignment to actually begin installation of generators, we're prepared to do that. Okay.
In line with that question, I think it's very important to point out here again, HECO, which is Hawaii's private power company that is largely in charge of restoring power, not FEMA, not the Army Corps of Engineers.
Nope. Our job is to do as little as possible.
Our mission is
spend as
designed
much
to
money as we
backfill their capability. So, for example, we mobilize a lot of generator capability that we have ready to go to support critical infrastructure until the power is turned back on. And then when it comes to HECO, typically the well-organized power companies have robust mutual aid agreements in place. And the role that the federal government plays in that is helping them to facilitate those mutual aid agreements, such as getting equipment and teams from CONUS United States into the ports, into the waterways, so that they can deploy out. But we have verified with HECO that they do have very strong reserves when it comes to equipment and supplies to be able to quickly fix the energy grid. But here again, let's set expectations. They're called disasters because stuff is broken after
stuff up, right?
the fact. And citizens need to realize that we're looking at major hurricane impacts, and things are going to break. And we need to set the expectations that the power could go off for quite some time, and the infrastructure is going to be heavily impacted.
Hard to believe they have any fire.
Okay, thank you, folks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's it. 2 videos. Wow, there was more on the other one. Yeah, there's a lot more on the ABC one. I don't know why that one cut short. Authorize emergency disaster declaration to provide Hawaii. Our teams are closely coordinating with the state and local authorities. You are in our thoughts. We will take care of you. Yes. Pray for those in Hawaii's path.
Impacts to energy lifelines, communications, transportation, health and medical, critical lifelines.
Yes, critical. All critical. There was a 7.0 earthquake in Chile.
So here again, it's a unified effort that we are ready to support our state and local partners. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Goldstein with the NOAA's National Weather Service to give us the latest update. Steve.
Where is it? Right here.
Okay, the latest advisory from the Central Pacific Hurricane Center, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 o'clock Hawaii time, still has Hurricane Lane remaining a powerful
cat.
Category 3 hurricane with winds of 120 miles an hour. It is approximately
120 miles.
160 miles southwest of Kona and 200 miles south of Honolulu. It is moving north very slowly, only 5 miles an hour. This general motion is expected to continue through the day before it makes a
5.5 in India.
Turn to the west sometime Saturday and begins to speed up.
There it is. Brazil.
On this track, the hurricane will pass dangerously close to the Hawaiian Island chain through the day today, into tonight, and Saturday. Lane may weaken as it approaches, but it's expected to maintain hurricane strength as it approaches the islands. Dangerous flooding will continue on the Big Island. The threat for tropical storm force or even hurricane force winds will continue for the next 24 to 36 hours, especially at the higher elevations. This is expected to be a long-duration flood event as the threat for heavy rain may continue after the hurricane passes to the west. High surf, rising waters, and storm surge could overwash coastal areas, especially during high tide this afternoon, Hawaii time. The next advisory from the Central Pacific Hurricane Center
Oh, yeah.
will be issued at 11 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Hawaii time.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Next up, we have from the United States Coast Guard, Admiral Austin. That we would like to bring up, and as I said yesterday, the Coast Guard plays a tremendous role in bolstering search and rescue capabilities. Also, they play a tremendous role in helping us to maintain access to waterway ports and a whole host of other things. So, thank you, Admiral.
Thank you, Administrator. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
The Coast Guard's primary concern is still the safety of the people on
3:45
Hawaii
morning
and
there.
Coast Guard members and their families. Any assets that are going to be flown into Hawaii prior to the storm have made it there. They are staged and ready to go as soon as it is safe to respond. We are also waiting for the storm to pass
95C.
so that we can have
Yeah,
the
I saw
ports
the second one
reconstituted. We
back
can
there.
continue to do post-storm
And I was looking at
damage
that, and I looked at the
assessments,
wind speeds,
working
and the
with
wind speeds aren't
FEMA or
showing
other local
what they're
partners as
saying, and it's not showing anything out here.
well as industry to help prioritize which vessels come into the port.
Pacific.
As soon as possible so that we can get resources flowing back
It's supposed to be a big hurricane, and
in there.
the radar
That's
doesn't show hardly
Thank you, Admiral.
anything from.
Next up from the Army Corps of Engineers, we have Ray Alexander with us today. As I
And nobody's reporting.
said yesterday,
from,
the Army Corps of Engineers
if
plays
there
a
was stuff
tremendous
going
role
on,
as
people
well
would be streaming. So it's not like their phones are dead yet.
through the unified effort. Not only will they help with the emergency power mission, helping
Far
HECO,
larger than a hurricane, just in my opinion.
the private
See, we've got this little spot
power
out
industry
here
that runs power on the island with emergency power, but they also help us to understand risk analysis when it comes to waterways, canals,
It's only over. That's the only
dams,
thing
and bridges. So thank you.
This isn't the only
Great. Thank you, sir.
weather. I just wanted to put that up there.
Good morning. Under both FEMA and Army Corps authorities,
But the one
the Corps is
over
fully
the US
engaged,
is
prepared to
actually far
respond
much bigger.
as needed.
Check this real quick.
Our Pacific Ocean Division leadership, they're headquartered on Oahu. They are forward. Our subject matter experts for temporary power, debris removal, infrastructure assessment. They are all forward, and they are working with state and FEMA responders to coordinate and anticipate needs and assist in the planning efforts. Under FEMA mission assignment, we've already deployed temporary emergency power, debris, and infrastructure assessment, subject matter experts, and
yeah, here's that. This looks weird.
planning and response teams. They're on Oahu. They're on Kauai. We also have deployed a debris removal team forward and subject matter experts. And then finally, we're integrated fully with Coast Guard and NOAA to ensure that federal channels are quickly surveyed and opened. Yesterday, we were asked a question about the Alawai Canal in Waikiki. This is a state-controlled waterway. It is not an active flood risk management project. We did receive recently $345 million with emergency supplemental last summer to initiate a flood risk management project. Design will actually begin this fall.
Shouldn't be doing that.
Construction beginning in 2020, and the project is expected to be complete in 2023. It's a combination of multiple detention and
Let me check out the other one.
water debris retention basins, as well as a flood
I didn't mean to do that.
wall, pumping station, flood warning system, but that is not in place. The canal has flooded in the past, and I believe it's safe to say, based upon the forecasted rainfall, rainfall, it will likely flood again, but the impacts of which we are not prepared to say at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Yes, sir.
All right, and then also next up, as I said yesterday, one of the crucial partners that we have is the American Red Cross, who helps us with mass care and sheltering and rendering safety and security to the citizens that are impacted. Brad Kaiserman.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
System behind the first system, and there's a. When I was looking at the GOES earlier, you could see the new plumes popping up like they come out of nowhere. That's what I say. Well, usually I stream all night because the internet seems to work better at night, even though it's the same amount of people using it. I don't know if any of you lost your internet for an entire day.
Good morning, everyone.
14 hours. Good morning. Well, it's about time.
As Hurricane Lane has lumbered.
I should have just went to Ventusky. It's a good page. I just
Towards the Hawaiian Islands last night, there were over
a lot of stuff to download.
1,500 residents of Hawaii across the islands who sought shelter in temporary evacuation centers. Established by the counties. Over 1,000 of those folks.
That's better.
Were in Oahu in multiple shelters in Honolulu and Honolulu County. Expect to see additional shelters that may open today, centers that may open today.
Well, I thought they were running out of centers to open, is what I read earlier. They were concerned.
And I definitely expect to see an increase in population as the storm continues to approach. There are over 500 Red Cross volunteers across the islands working
closely in cooperation with FEMA and official agencies.
Today, nearly 250 of them are event.
Here we go.
Based volunteers. That's people who raised their hand and said,
"I
haven't been."
One that's current. It's 2 meters above the ground. Oh, we don't want temperature. Wind speeds. Let's look at the gusts.
I'm affiliated with a volunteer organization before, but I'd like to help now.
Wind gust currently today and
now, and so they have all been processed in. We continue.
Is it there? Why is it still on temperature? There we go.
Continue to have a need for volunteers on the island, and people can do that by going to
52, 50, 18. This is at the highest wind.
1-800 Red Cross or by going online.
I don't see anything.
To redcross.org, but for now we have adequate.
Don't see anything.
Forces on the island, and we're working with our partners, the
The second
Salvation
one
Army.
here. I don't know where they're getting these winds from. Even
We continue to do disaster feeding across the
try to
island.
go up,
We'll keep you
up
posted.
in the atmosphere. And people aren't reporting a lot on the ground. The last report
Thank you, sir.
going north,
Thank
I
you.
thought.
And I think it's
10 meters above the ground.
worthwhile mentioning here again, disaster response is a
38, 22, 17.
whole community obligation,
25.
not just FEMA's
I
obligation.
mean, it's not even a tropical storm. There's a new one. And if
But
you
it
look at
also
the-
goes down
let's
to
go
the
up in-
citizen being
in altitude,
appropriate.
so- We'll go up to 3,000 meters.
Prepared, appropriately prepared. So if
Be appropriately prepared. Yes, we will.
if you're looking to get involved and here again, and it's been incredibly, it's a
Not
critical
a win.
component of the whole
At least
community.
according to this.
Neighbor helping neighbor. If you're looking to get involved, we would ask you to also visit nvoad.org. NVOAD.
Seems odd. That's all.
.org. So with that, we'll stop and take any questions you.
And then it gets even more curious. I'm gonna shut off because he's slowing up my progress here.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Real quick question. We're looking
Pause. Oh, on here. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's look at this. This is all the way up. Wind speed 50, 53. There's nothing. There's not even hurricane at this level. Precipitation. Might have to make another pot of coffee. Alright, there's the precip. This is what he's saying, Captain Charisma, the second one. This is the current lane. I guess this would be passing, and this would be lane, so we'd have passing lane. Yes. It doesn't work that way, but it would be great, wouldn't it? We could have cupcake frosting on the next hurricane. Yeah, so we've got several inches of rain. Wow. The past 3 hours. Not a lot. But they're reporting like it's a lot. And then if you go, we go down here to the goes. Hello, loading. wouldn't let me move it earlier. There goes satellite. There we go. I gotta bookmark this. I always forget to bookmark it. Okay. Go down here to the water vapor loop. Here's Hawaii. Here's the water. This is the water vapor. There's more water vapor over here than there is over here. This would be the second area. Granted, this is all trailing this way, but I don't know what they're reporting on. I don't know what they're looking at because none of these show it. Let's do this one. Looks like my face is out of the way still. Hawaii right here. That's the big storm heading into Michigan where I'm at. Hopefully I get some good pictures tomorrow live. It looks like it's moving northwest. And then you got a second one popping up. And kind of like splitting the needle there. Infrared. That one shows a little more. I don't know. I was just keeping track of all this in case some funny business happens, because that's how it works, especially with Hawaii. It seems like lately, you know, false alarms and all. But there was red skies here in the night yesterday, and kind of like these. See my double moons, stacked moons. Granted, I moved the camera a little bit, but I could see them with my eyes. But yeah, there was red skies like this in the background of Hawaii. And then this is a sunrise one morning, and then a month ago or so, and then this is, well, I guess I can see this was on 6/21, June 21st, and this was just this past week, August 18th, August 15th. The sun looks completely different. Sunrises. Two different objects. Some funny business going on. Anyway, thought I'd share that. I'll make the video specifically. I don't know. I don't see this major hurricane. I know you see it there, but we know what the winds are. We just looked at the winds. think this is the one I want. Yeah. You'll see where it looks like they're using some cloud seeding apparatus, some sulfur injections or some salt water injections into the stratosphere atmosphere from the ocean, and then they appear to be monitoring from the plane above, you know, the hurricane hunter. No, this is really popping up out here. And this is over here, but we don't have any wind. Which one is this? This is the infrared. This is the visible. This is what can be seen visibly. Alright, so this is the visible water vapor. And you can see the puffs coming up out of there. Animation's so fast. See, they're kind of coming up out of the water here and here, similar to was it the Ferris? It was the can't go back that far. Why can't I go back further? I guess I can't go back that far. Experimental. Well, here. I don't have to do that. I can go back to the other one and show you what I'm talking about. It doesn't add up. Everything they're showing us. And people that I've watched aren't reporting heavy winds. But yet, what are they saying? 120s? Is that going to happen after the sun comes up? Come on. I'm trying to go quick. Let's see. It'd be right here. Oh, here's that. Yeah, I already went and looked through all this a little bit earlier. Just because I started noticing some weird patterns going on. Probably making something out of nothing. No, not there. I thought I had this set where I could see. Okay, there's that. Yeah, here we go. Here's earlier. Let me redo this. Alright, let's see. We looked at all this. Let me turn this up. It's way bigger than that hurricane when you look at the size of Hawaii next to the storm we just looked at. Yeah, I mean, look. That storm's way bigger. This storm's way bigger than this storm. This is a hurricane This is just some rain. There's no comparison. This is far bigger. That don't even look like a hurricane. That looks like I mean, I see a little bit of something here, yeah. I've seen a lot of low pressure systems on land do that too. See how this is in a bow echo form? That's curious. I'm no professional, but there's nothing else. Why isn't there anything else? Look at how blue it is out there. Where's these typhoons that are supposed to be over here? Yeah. It's just, this is, okay, let's do something else here. I think we're getting the smackerdoodles. I don't know. That seems odd. That swirl. Isn't that similar to a hurricane? That's that big storm in the United States. How is this worse than this? Let's go back here. Flettner rotor. That's an one I could remember. Figure 9. The previous section has outlined possible design routes for an atomizer. That's what it is, an atomizer. That will create a stream of microscopic saltwater droplets to act as the source of additional CCN. The major remaining engineering design task is that of providing a vessel, or rather fleet of vessels, that will distribute the sprays where their effect will be most productive. Saltier, ETAL 2008, while containing interest, be equally applied, however, to all geoengineering schemes, since aerosol particles in the main boundary layer are extremely short-lived, typically a few days, compared with their stratospheric counterparts, 1 to 2 years. Perturbations to the radiative budget from the marine cloud brightening are inherently localized. Geoengineering by marine cloud brightening can therefore be construed as an upscaling of many localized perturbations. Refs, such processes has been proposed to make a substantial contribution to the radioactive balance Yes, it is imperative that knowledge. That's right, folks. It is imperative that we have knowledge of this. Basic interactions, substantially regardless of the viability of cloud brightening as a geoengineering scheme that inverted human-induced changes to regional aerosol particle burden have been used to investigate these processes in regions and stratocumulus in the past. E.G. Johnson et al. 2000, Stevens et al. 2003. Though large natural variability and codependency of processes has to date limited progress towards full understanding, also emissions from the stacks of ships have been used to study aerosol plumes. See, I mean, I could just be out of my self, but you know, it looks like cloud brightening to me. The storm's over here. Yeah, we got moisture, but there's no wind. Look at all that. See, they start out down here, watch. They go down to nothing. There's nothing there. Explode out of nowhere. Experimental. I'm not gonna read it. That's not too. Sisquate is generated by AC spray generation. Mr. Steve. It's gonna be right here because I went to look for it. Yeah, this is where it's worth. There, yeah, I know. I got a lot of stuff going on at the same time here. Again, whoops. Oh, it's in my ears. That's where it's going on. Okay. So that was a repeat of earlier. It's in full detail on the earlier video. No, that's the one I wanted. This one here. See how these are popping up here? Boom, 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 boom. That seems a bit coming out of here out of nowhere. This is dissipating. You got wind shear coming this way, and then this stuff is blowing this direction this way, and then this stuff is blowing up this way. But so they're going in the wrong direction. This is like just spreading out. It's almost like it's getting pushed up from underneath and just spreading out like a pancake, in my opinion. Let's see. Let's see what the latest is. Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hello. This is why we always urge folks not to focus only on category of hurricane. Dangerous impacts from Lane are occurring nearly 200 miles away from the center. It's a great reminder to never focus only on the center. Weather Nation. Okay. 24 seconds ago. We just looked it all over. Looked at all the current radar maps. It is impressive looking though. lot of water. And they've got several forest fires. But yet, when the volcano ran through the whole countryside, they didn't have any forest fires. I mean, it burned up, but it smoldered up. All right, that was a good one. Pray for the families. Cuts off Hawaii Island roads with floods, landslides, and downed trees. We just saw the last 3 hours, didn't we? And I know they said 19 inches before that, which is quite possible. But it's probably gonna. It'll probably increase with the sunrise. Because the way FEMA's talking there, and the president's already, you know, got the services all going over there, the FEMA barges. Still plenty of moisture in this current radar screenshot of our hurricane. See, 14 miles per hour. I'm not the only one. 14 miles per hour. 82 degrees, 82, 79, 79, 73. There's nothing here. And why does it black out over here? Because what is this? Hurricane, Big Island. It doesn't say where it's shot from. They've just gotten over volcanic eruptions. Okay, Main Strip this morning. Streets are quiet and empty. Winds are not that strong right now. So there's no strong. Let me get my face out of the way. I'm sorry. I got a screen over here that I forget to look at. I look at it, but I guess I don't acknowledge it. Sandbagging, flooding Hawaiian Islands. You can watch live coverage. I've got the live coverage. Why isn't it on? Here we go. Where is Hurricane Lane and why isn't it on radar or wind speed indicators? See? Thank you. Thank you, watching eye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's my question exactly. Oh, thanks. How come I can't spell that exact? Oh. Yes. Exactly. Why isn't it showing up?
Hey guys, it's Thursday, 8:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on August 23rd, 2018. That huffing and puffing you hear in the background is my little dog. So forgive the huffing and puffing noise, but he's sitting here helping me while I'm doing my research. So here's the scoop, you guys. The latest on this Hurricane Lane. Okay, I did more readings on the buoys in the area. And as I showed you in my last video, that 51002 buoy did get readings up into the 50s, right? Or 50 was the highest reading I got, okay? Which is half the speed that they are reporting on the news. But I want you to notice, you guys, since then, those wind speeds dropped dramatically, okay? There are no wind speeds in the 50s, not even close. Even 51002 dropped almost immediately to 35 knots. So it was just a storm that passed through. Now I want you to see this is a summary of all the readings over the last 3 hours from every single NOAA buoy in the vicinity of the Hawaiian Islands. Now yes, it looks like there are some strong winds. 33 knots is not anything to just shake a stick at, but 33 knots, you guys, is 1/3 the force of a hurricane. It is just a storm, all right? Now, here, and that's just, those are the gusts. The actual wind speeds themselves are 25.3, 27.2, that was earlier, 8, 29, 18.1, 17.5. You know, while everybody's running to the grocery store getting supplies, which is good because I have no idea what's going to happen here. And if they say evacuate, evacuate. I'm just pointing out, you guys, that on every single one of the buoys surrounding Hawaii, we are not getting any wind speeds anywhere close to what they're telling us. And that, you guys, is why I'm concerned about this. That's why I'm concerned about this. Now let me also show you a couple of other things here. See, we have buoys all over the place. Well, they're not.
Sorry,
See, look at how many buoys we have. If there's really a storm around here, how come none of these buoys are actually picking it up? Okay, how come 51003? That's not showing any readings anywhere above 20. All right, the latest one was 17.5 knots. You guys, 13.6 knots. You guys, it's blowing harder than that here on Grand Traverse Bay right now. So there's something funky is happening here, and I can't explain it, but this is exactly what happened last year. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a storm. There is a storm because 21, 22, 30, 50 knots, that's pretty windy, okay? But let me show you a couple of other observations I've made here.
Oh, she's in
As I went to go watch the latest on
So
CBS, I also stopped by to take a peek at the radar on the Weather Underground from Honolulu, Hawaii. Now, I want to explain to you guys the difference between satellite and radar. Radar is actually the instruments that we have feeding data from Doppler sounds in a variety of different radar instruments that we have at, airports. Okay, so and there are a lot of airports on the Hawaiian Islands. So this image here that we have of this radar is pretty accurate. And it's not only here, okay? This is not the only place where we're getting a radar reading. I want to show you guys the CBS video here in the background of the CBS video. You guys will see if it saved my place on the page.
Fantastic work.
See this? This is the radar
two
too.
Of us. We need one
this
more
is the
to
radar too. I want you to notice what is mysteriously missing
There's nothing
from
on the
this
radar.
This crazy image of a hurricane.
I've seen
There
harder
is no
thunderstorms.
hurricane shape of cloud formation anywhere near the Hawaiian Islands. Not in the CBS News background screen and not on the actual Weather Underground data feed from the radars. You guys, there's something going on here. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you exactly what's happening. But it's totally possible that a hurricane will pop out of nowhere and take out Hawaii, but it's not there now. So let's be really clear about this. The actual radar that they're showing us, which is real physical data that is compiled from all the airports around the Hawaiian Islands. Okay, this is what the pilots use to fly. This is accurately showing no hurricane here. The wind speed indicators, the actual data points of these floating little, tax-funded little, buoys that we have in the one. Let me see if I can show you an image of one. Here we go. We got tons of them. See, we got tons of them all over the country, all over the world. This is what our National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administrator's Office uses to measure the weather. And those guys, those little floaty things in the water, they're showing us that there is nothing of that kind of wind speed anywhere around the Hawaiian Islands. I'll just double click, and it's so interesting, you guys, because look at the National Data Buoy Center link for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administrator's Office, they have this link, Storm Special, view the latest observations. So these are the latest observations, you guys. All you got to do is click the Central Pacific Hurricane Lane right here. Click it, and what we see, you will see that the wind speeds are
5 minutes
right here.
and 42
WS
seconds. Let me see if I can zoom that in. I want to see that screen.
Hey guys, it's Thursday, 8:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on August 23rd, 2018. That huffing and puffing you hear in the background is exactly what's happening. But it's totally possible that a hurricane will pop out of nowhere and take out Hawaii, but it's not there now. So let's be really clear about this. The actual radar that they're showing us, which is real physical data that is compiled from all the airports around the Hawaiian Islands. Okay, this is what the pilots use to fly, this is accurately showing no hurricane here. The wind speed indicators, the actual data points of these floating little, tax-funded little, buoys that we have in the water. Let me see if I can show you an image of one. Here we go. We got tons of them. See, we got tons of them all over the country, all over the world. This is what our National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administrator's Office uses to measure the weather. And those guys, those little floaty things in the water, they're showing us that there is nothing of that kind of wind speed anywhere around the Hawaiian Islands. I'll just double click, and it's so interesting, you guys, because look at the National Data Buoy Center link for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administrator's Office, they have this link, Storm Special, view the latest observations. So these are the latest observations, you guys. All you got to do is click the Central Pacific Hurricane Lane right here. Click it. And what we see, you will see that the wind speeds are right here, WSPD in knots, 17.5, 6.0, 19.0. And if you scroll down, you guys, you're not going to see anything over, what, 21, 23? You guys, that's not a hurricane. A minimum wind speed for a hurricane is 64. Okay, for the hurricane that they're reporting, it would have to be 113. We are 100 knots shy of an actual hurricane anywhere around the Hawaiian Islands. And I want to know why. I want to know why. I want to know where the heck NOAA is getting the information that they're posting in their press releases. And I want to know why the news is telling us that there's a hurricane when even their own radar is showing that there is no hurricane on their own radar.
There's nothing.
These are real radar images, you guys.
Not a
now,
thing.
You can
that's a
put
joke.
the cartoon generated image
That's
from NASA and their imaginary satellite images. You can double click that and sure, then you'll see a hurricane. But you guys, reality is telling us that there's just a storm, a rainstorm with wind. Why? Why is this important? Well, I'll tell you why this is important, you guys. Because they have only had one hurricane in the history of the state. One, in 1991 or 92. Okay, one hurricane. In the 90s, guys, this should all be big red flags for us. This should all be big red flags.
It's stronger in Colorado.
This is the same stuff I found over and over and over again last year. The links will be in the description, you guys. I just wanted to give you an update that as of right now, I don't know what's going to happen in Hawaii.
It skimmed them.
I have no idea. It may end up that Hawaii ends up looking something like the wildfires.
See this?
We may end up with with hurricane damage with no evidence of a hurricane, but just a bunch of damage. Like we ended up with wildfires.
It's coming out of nowhere.
And indication of the wildfire.
There's nothing here.
We may end up with something like that in Hawaii. I don't know.
Radar glitching.
But right now, there's no hurricane on this radar. There's no hurricane on the radar in the background.
These are pixel. These are pixel
There's no
images
hurricane on the NOAA buoys
showing
on the wind speed data. That is
a lack
this
of
is
cloud
just
cover.
raw data, you guys. Raw data that is fed to us directly from the water. These are numbers.
See
that
now
most
these have
people
got
don't
the
take
whites
time
and
to
the
look up,
tops.
But I'm showing you. There's a problem here, you guys. So I'll keep you posted. Have a good night.
Where's that hurricane eye they showed us earlier? I'm gonna have to use the restroom and make another pot of coffee. Keep an eye on this. I hope she gets that message. What are these other people saying? Oh, there's definitely something fishy going on with the weather these days. Yeah. Same crap last year, lies. This reminds me of Nate. I commented, I wonder if FEMA is there rounding up people like last year. I'm looking at radar. It looks just like a strong storm. WTF. This is why yes. NASA never. Okay, gang. Already applying. Believe that a Cat 4 or 5 hurricane is imminent. We are given that their collective minds are thinking about it in their consciousness. Okay, she's talking about consciousness, creating it. What's terrifying is the physician is that I can't help. Okay, nobody's got anything. Okay, again, only source that is smart enough and good enough to take the time to point out the most. Thank you. Yes, fantastic job. NWS Mosaic radar image shows only the islands themselves cannot get a bigger picture. The Northeast Pacific water vapor loop is the only real-time full image of the system in the Pacific I can find, and it shows the system stalled out. Any suggestions? I think I looked at that one. I'm not seeing a storm at all. Booger. This reminds me of that. Yeah, right here. Oh, that's not it. There's Hawaii. There's nothing there. Let me go back. Make sure I have that saved. I get tired of looking for them all the time. Pacific Northwest Loop, upper. That's Hawaii, or that's Alaska, I mean. There's nothing here. Curious. What other maps do I have on here? I know I got some other good ones on here. Yeah, it's only, there's not even, I mean, the hurricane should be up in this level. There's nothing going over the islands. This one, all that stuff we saw coming up here is building for the afternoon. There's no water in it. It's the stratospheric aerosol injections from the ocean vessels that I showed you earlier. I can't remember the name. Farron. I'll just do it this way. Cloud seeding, ocean cloud seeding. Images. Right here, this booger. See this booger. This here is called, well, it's called several things. Where's the other picture? This isn't the one I had earlier. It's the Ferris something. Farron, it's on my other video. It's on this one too. That's why I like doing these live, and then I don't have to find the information again. I can just go to the old video and then research the data if I've already found it once. So I'll leave this up for now, and we'll go, which one was it? This one? This one. So these are this. Boom, boom, boom. In my opinion. In my amateur opinion of watching the worth of the earth.
Welcome for another episode.
See how these are popping up out of nowhere.
Of technology being used against you.
Right.
We're here at patriotsfortruth.org. Voices of the American Intelligence.
We got that one already.
How patent theft and technology.
Oh, where'd you come from?
Is going to control everything in your life. You will be completely controlled.
I don't want that.
They have devices
I can hear myself talk.
To hijack your mind.
Hope that fast forwarded. Yeah. Okay. go back over here and look at this wind shear. You know, I'm gonna put that other. I'm gonna go make this pot of coffee. I'm gonna put on. I don't know what I'm gonna put on. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, that squares the hurricane. I'm gonna look this over for a minute. Yeah, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I don't know. That seems odd. Who knows? You can't animate it. Probably blue. There's that storm. See, there's the storm. It's all connected. More down here, but anyway. Looks like that's just water vapor. Keeps. We gotta hit the word itself. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. My stupid mistake. 100%. You can't see it. Hawaii's right here. Interesting. This is far bigger. Look at that. Look at that swirl. Isn't that similar to a hurricane? That's that big storm in the United States. How is this worse than this? Let's go back here. These reds are just as red as those reds. Just my opinion. was just as big. I saw those chemtrails flare up during the day. Yeah, I should be able to get some good storm footage today. I don't know. This whole hurricane thing might be up for something else. They've got a lot of people under warning for something I don't see, and there's a lot of rain, right? But you can't see this tropical storm over here where they're getting cucumber size and softball size hail in Colorado. Flooded out all the East Coast, burned up the whole West Coast. Now they done did Puerto Rico in last year. Now we got something. You know, gotta get all these in the Samoan Islands and these bookers, man. Something's up. And Trump's already doing a state of emergency for something that hasn't even hit. These are far worse. That's that typhoon headed to China. I'm gonna look into that here in a minute. I'll check the Hawaii stuff out again. But water vapor. These animations to make them look overly impressive, because I didn't see that on all the other stuff. I don't know what they're imaging there. You know, they can reset the scale any way they want. I know they're getting a lot of rain, but there's no wind. It's not showing any winds. Where's this 170 mile an hour winds the hurricane hunters picked up on? It was a Cat 5 just the other day, is what they said. We just looked at the wind gusts were in the 40s and 50s, and I think the highest one was 63 miles per hour. I mean, look Look at this. It pops up out of nowhere here. Where's the August 24th? I mean, that's pretty current. What's this? What's popping? Where's this popping up from? Volcanoes over here. I'm not a meteorologist, but alright, let's go infrared. See, look at this. Is that those? Is that these things? Is that these things? What do they call them? Ocean. That's not the right name. It's the only thing I can think of off top. Hydro, ocean, precipitation boats. That's not it. Everything is so... Oh, maybe I need to use experimental. Sometimes it's easier if you find this stuff ahead of time. Oh, that's not it. Right here, this thing, what do they call it? Of a Flettner rotor, and they create precipitation. Where, let's see. Flettner rotor. That's the one I could remember. Figure 9. The previous section has outlined possible design routes for an atomizer. That's what it is, an atomizer. That will create a stream of microscopic saltwater droplets to act as the source of additional CCN. The major remaining engineering design task is that of providing a vessel, or rather fleet of vessels, that will distribute the sprays where their effect will be most productive. Saltier, ETAL, 2008, have argued that the propulsion of these craft by the Flettner rotors is the optimum way to proceed. A Flettner rotor, named after its inventor, Anton Flettner, is a vertically mounted cylinder that may be rotated about its axis by an external power supply. When air flows past it, the cylinder rotation creates a force, the Magnus force, at right angles to the airflow that propels the vessel on which the cylinder is mounted. The rotor thus plays the same role as the sails on a yacht, but the thrust levels attainable are far greater for a sail
of the same area, and moreover, the control of such vessels is very much simpler without the complex rigging of a sail and with a far superior maneuverability, making them ideal for the manned radio-controlled operation. See right there, making them ideal for unmanned radio-controlled operation. Moreover, it has been estimated, Saltier, ETA made that the cost of providing the power to spin the rotor is in order of magnitude less than that required for a screw-driven vessel of comparable sailing size and same speed. An artist's impression of such a vessel is shown in Figure 9, which we just looked at. While the original Flatner vessel, which crossed the Atlantic in 1926, was propelled by two purely cylindrical rotors in the conceptual design of the cloud seating craft. Cloud seating craft, shown in the Figure 9, right? The cloud seating craft. Not my words, theirs. The rotors have a number of discs mounted along their length. The inclusion of such discs has been shown by Thorne, 1934, to improve rotor performance at a high spin rate. Inevitably, however, the scope of that experimental exploration was limited, and sure it was clearly not conceived as contributing to the particular requirements of the cloud seating craft. Moreover, nearly 80 years on, as in so many areas, computer simulation, while not replacing the need for experiments, has made it feasible to explore a wide variety. Validate the procedure of purely laminar flow around a bare rotor for a Reynolds number of 200 was examined corresponding to the case study by M&K. In agreement with the results, the present computations confirm that the Kármán vortex street present behind a non-rotating cylinder disappeared for dimensionless rotation rates. Rule recognized while containing interest in creature pointers, rotors, cloud base. Here we go. One may well wish to cause the spray to spread as quickly as possible. Let's go back to the top. Will recognize that the results above, while containing interesting and encouraging pointers, represents just the start of a range of CFD comparisons that will need to be made as the first step in computations. I guess that went too far. The effective healing of the ship, even by only around 2 to 3 rotors aerodynamics, one may well to cause the spray to spread as quickly as possible to minimize the risk of droplet collisions, which would create larger than optimal size of droplets. Where's it jumped into there? As a final example of the issues requiring examination, we note the possible effects of the top disc. Okay. Behavior of the saltwater spray discharge. Okay. It is known that imparting swirl to the spray will do that. However, that will lead to the reduction in droplets. Vertical velocity, which on its own may reduce the proportion of salt particles reaching the cloud base. Such competing effects and their consequences need to be considered in the next phases of this research before any geoengineering scheme-based system on solar radiation management could be implemented. It first must fulfill the following criteria. It can deliver the desired agent by which solar radiation will be scattered to space. Sulfate particles in the case of a stratospheric aerosol, chemtrails, and the climate responses to such perturbations are small compared to those associated with changes induced in the climate system from inadvertent human activity. The last of these cannot be tested by experiment for any of the SRM methods without full implementation, lasting multiple years, and carries a risk of substantial negative impact. This was argued by Rubach et al. 2010, who focused upon geoengineering through stratospheric sulfur injection, currently considered to be one of the most feasible schemes. That's right, folks, it's all a scheme. The world is a stage. Rubach further argued that it is impossible to field test any elements of geoengineering technology without significant modification to the climate system. That is, it is not possible to separate field study from actual development of geoengineering for schemes involving stratospheric sulfur injection. That is indeed the case. The climatic response of the scheme is fundamentally derived from the slow spreading of particles in the stratosphere over a significant fraction of the globe. That is, the climate response of injection at a given location is highly non-localized. Furthermore, many thousands of injections of the particle precursor gas sulfur dioxide are necessary to produce a climate response that can significantly cancel those from anthropogenic greenhouse gases and maintain it in the presence of pre-existing particles. It's both the sustenance and the technique, and its response is inherently global. As such, Robach in 2010 are entirely correct in arguing that it would be extremely difficult to measure either an effect on the Earth's radishes or its radiation budget or maintenance of the aerosol form of only a small number of injections that might constitute a field test, both from the standpoint of maintenance of the sulfate aerosol and the criterion of needed to measure a radiative response. Creation of needing to measure a radiative response. We agree that the notion that atmospheric sulfur injection in geoengineering cannot be reasonably field tested. The argument of non-testability cannot be equally applied, however, to all geoengineering. Processing. To all geoengineering schemes, since aerosol particles in the main boundary layer are extremely short-lived, typically a few days, compared with their stratospheric counterparts, 1 to 2 years, perturbations to the radiative budget from the marine cloud brightening are inherently localized. Geoengineering by marine cloud brightening can therefore be construed as an upscaling of many localized perturbations, like a hurricane, to the Earth's negative radiative budget. Thus, both the aerosol injections and the radiative responses associated with marine cloud brightening occur over relatively small spatial scales. We argue that this key distinction makes field testing of both the generation of changes in the particle properties, criterion A, and the effects of and on cloud and radiation, criterion B, from the implementation of a cloud brightening spray system, possibly a contradiction of Robach's or Rebach's The stratospheric sulfur rejection scheme has to date been considered one of the most viable schemes not to volcanic eruptions such as Pinatubo in 91 have provided significant data against which model predictions on the radiative effects of sulfate particles in the stratosphere can be tested and validated. Menace et al. 1990. Like stratospheric aerosols, many of the basic processes linking aerosols, clouds for precipitation and radiation underpinning the cloud brightening scheme are rather poorly understood. Stevens and Feingold 2009, given that the influence of human activity on such processes has been proposed to make a substantial contribution to the radiative balance. IPCC 2007 and refs such processes has been proposed to make a substantial contribution to the radioactive balance. Yes, it is imperative that knowledge, that's right, folks, it is imperative that we have knowledge of this. Basic interactions, substantially regardless of the viability of cloud brightening. Induced changes to regional aerosol particle burden have been used to investigate these processes in regions and stratocumulus in the past. E.G. Johnson et al. 2000, Stevens et al. 2003. Though large natural variability and codependency of processes has to date limited progress towards full understanding, also emissions from the stacks of ships have been used to study aerosol plumes. Our narrow entrainment and mixing are often dominant a limited area field experiment, which provides substantial and detectable perturbation above the background, and spatial scales that are detectable from space. Clouds, therefore, offer a unique way to probe the aerosol. A limited area field experiment, which provides a substantial and detectable perturbation above the background on spatial scales that are detectable from space. Those things we just looked at. These plumes. See these plumes? See how these plumes come out? Can I pause it? No. Yeah. See? I mean, I could just be out of my self, but, you know, it looks like cloud brightening to me. The storm's over here. Yeah, we got moisture, but there's no wind. We looked at all that. See, they start out down here, watch. They go down to nothing. There's nothing there. Explode out of nowhere. Experimental. I'm not gonna read it. That's not too much fun. A A limited area field experiment which provides a substantial and detectable perturbation above the background on spatial scales that are detectable from space could therefore offer a unique way to probe aerosol cloud precipitation interactions and their influence on radiation, and would enable new knowledge on aerosol influences on climate to be gained. An analogy can be drawn between improving knowledge of aerosol cloud injections or interactions through a limited area perturbation experiment and previous experiments conducted to investigate the control of micronutrients, notably iron, on the drawdown of carbon by marine biological systems. A number of experiments have been conducted which have deliberately added iron to the ocean to improve knowledge of the ocean biological carbon cycling. These have substantially improved knowledge of nutrient information on oceanic primary production and subsequent control on plankton communities and how its impacts on cycling of carbon and nitrogen in the world's ocean. From 2007 by Boyd. Further fertilization experiments to develop knowledge of the fundamental processes are seen as crucial to furthering the understanding of Earth or the heart system, and are critical before any consideration is given to large-scale deliberate attempts of carbon sequestration by such means. Lampett, 2008. A major concern is that larger-scale experiments may have significant impacts on ocean ecosystems. A key point is that a limited area field experiment to study aerosol cloud interactions using artificially generated aerosol from sea spray can be carried without any climatical damage effects, as the lifetime of the atmosphere aerosol in the marine boundary layer is in the order of a few days at most. Such experiments therefore offer a valuable contribution to climate science and should not be viewed as solely a means of validating the cloud brightening scam. Here we present an initial framework for the testing and implementation of such experiments. We proposed a set field test to critically assesses the efficiency of the MFers, the money funders, right, who assess the critical possibility of atmosphere stratosphere injection. Each involves the introduction and monitoring of controlled aerosol perturbations from one or more ship-based seeding platforms up to a limited area of 1 to 2 kilometers. A suite of observational platforms of increasing number and complexity, including aircraft, ships, and satellites, will be required to observe the aerosol plume. And they're observing hurricane hunters, aircraft. Right here, aircraft. Required to observe the aerosol plume, and in the later experiments, the cloud and albedo responses to the aerosol perturbations, including the necessary cloud physical and chemical processes that determine the efficiency or efficacy of the cloud of the modeling work will be carried out to stimulate or simulate, predict, or project the cloud responses. The modeling work will be then used to drive quantitative hypothesis testing for the field tests and will be used to test for our understanding of and the ability to stimulate and articulate aerosol cloud interactions on the regional scale. The scale and complexity of such experiments have been delivered by the international research community on several occasions over the last decade. Most recent, the VAMOS variation in the American monsoon system. Interesting, right? Right here. The scale and complexity of such experiments have been delivered over the last decade. Have been delivered by the international research community on several occasions.
Going over this.
Interesting, right?
On the weather that's not correct.
The scale and complexity of such experiments have been delivered.
Oh, I got the speakers on. I got everything backwards here.
No wonder I can't figure out what's going on. I've got the looking at myself from earlier. I went through all that data. I've got all this pressure here at 29.9. It's 20. Look at 29.6 inches of mercury. We go to Hawaii, and we've got 29.6 inches of mercury. We've got 29.8 inches of mercury. That equivalent to 1,002 millibars, which is rather high for a hurricane, let alone a Cat 3 or a Cat 2. That needs to be somewhere around 950. The science is on barometric pressure. Give me a little here. On how they develop. See, there's no storm. Look, there's no storm. There's no storm. That's a hurricane. That's a hurricane. That is not. That is not. Went through all this, and it looks like some funny business going on with all the funding and all the power. Power outages already. They've gotten some rain, but it's not a hurricane. Rotating systems that originate over tropical and subtropical oceans are called tropical cyclones. Tropical cyclones gain intensity and become a hurricane. Inside the hurricane, the barometric pressure at the ocean surface drops to extremely low levels, which we don't have. This is central low pressure, draws in warm, moist ocean air, and thunderstorms swirl around the center of these massive storms. A particularly intense tropical cyclone is called a hurricane. Inside a hurricane, the barometric pressure at the ocean surface drops to extremely low levels. As the air is pulled into the eye of the hurricane, it draws moisture from the ocean and rises rapidly before condensing, cooling, and releasing large amounts of heat into the atmosphere before falling, and begins the cycle again. This refuels the hurricane, lowering the barometric pressure on the ocean surface. The lower the barometric pressure at the center of the storm, the stronger the hurricane, and vice versa. The Stafford-Simpson scale ranges from Category 1 hurricanes where a barometric pressure of greater than 980 millibars. And that caused minimal damage. A Category 5 hurricane with a central pressure of less than 920 millibars. We're at 1,002 millibars. So it's a very weak tropical storm. Very weak tropical storm. Very weak. Very weak. When a tropical cyclone reaches hurricane strength, its low pressure center is why can't anything be seen, huh? Can you see me? Why is that? Oh, that would help. I got it now. I got it now. I was like, why can't you see me? I'm not tired of it. It's out of the way. Get rid of the background clutter.
like different colors. Wish it had more tone. Interesting, huh? I've been reading this stuff all night. I'm sorry I took a break here. Just playing around. Yeah, I like it better like that. Interesting. I don't know what I'm doing. Might be getting tired. I don't know why I'm playing with this. How'd I get sidetracked? Anyway, I'm done with that. I don't know. I don't know why I was playing with it. We're fine. I just get tired. Very good. Yum yum. When a tropical cyclone reaches hurricane strength, its low pressure center is called the eye of the storm, acting like the fuel that feeds more energy into the storm. Moisture from the warm water is converted to heat in the bands of rain that spiral around the eye. As air is pulled into the eye, it rises rapidly and then condenses. It's been a long day. Cooling and releasing large amounts of heat into the atmosphere before the air descends and begins this cycle again. Yes. Where's my barometric pressures? The force of a hurricane during the life cycle, each storm can expend as much as 10,000 nuclear bombs worth of energy, sustaining wind speeds of 155 miles per hour. Hurricanes reaching Category 3 are considered major. Saffir-Simpson scale of the hurricane intensity. It's based on the measurements of wind speed, height, and storm surges, and central barometric pressure in millibars. Saffir-Simpson scale ranges from Category 1 hurricanes with a barometric pressure greater than 900 millibars, which we have, 1002, which is fine. It's still just a Category 1. And 920 millibars for Category 5. Interesting, interesting. Okay. Let me look this up. See if there's another. See if there's another article. Interesting, interesting. All right, that's working. I was just making sure the volume was up. What I do, 2, 4, 8, 9, 10 hours worth of videoing so far, and then I did short videos earlier today. There we go. That's what I want. That's what I want. I want to see this. There we go. Avalanche. We're not even at a Cat 1 with the winds at 50 mile an hour. Interesting. Interesting. Current radar loop. Refresh. Yeah, there's nothing there. And why is this blocked out here? We can see clearly all the way back here. Maybe it's still seems odd. See it here. Okay. So there's nothing there. Well, it's brand new, but this is built up a little more over here. It's clearly going north. But our winds refresh this. Oh. Alright, let's look at this here. Let's see what we got. Oh, I just said loud, it's just I don't have any earbuds, so I can't tell how loud I'm being. Make sure I'm yelling loud enough. Alright, it's been refreshed. 29.6. Let's go back to yesterday. 23rd. I went to 23rd. Oh, isn't that interesting? I can't go backwards? Since when? I can go forward, but I can't go backward. Oh, look at this. What's going on? Let's try this way. That's better. That's the 23rd, 11 a.m. 29.4. 29.4 millibars. Go to the 22nd. When was this a Cat 5? 29.4 millibars. 03. We know 29.6 is 1200, so it's just down in the nines. 29.3 gets us 992. What was the precipitation on the 21st, Tuesday? Because they've gotten rain, right? Okay. Very interesting. When did they get the rain? When did they get the rain? Nothing has changed. When was this ever a Category 5? When was it ever a Category 5? How was the air pressure? 19th. 29.6, 29.7. Thunderstorm, precipitation. I mean, even right in the main part, right there, there's only 2.5 inches of rain. I went all the way back to the beginning of the week. I know it's only a 3-hour time span, but I did that. I mean, nothing really moved in. I mean, it's near normal air pressure. You can't have a hurricane when the air pressure is nearly the same as the surrounding air pressure by 0.410. I mean, that's not even really high pressure. It's just a separation and wind gusts. .4 70. Anyone else is just popping up all of a sudden. Give it a second to upload. Alright. 1,500 meters, wind speed on the 19th of August. Hurricane Lane. I mean, I know these are close estimates, but they're pretty darn good. Okay. A little higher here. 3,000 meters. 3,000 meters. 0. The winds are bringing it this way. I don't know why it would ever go up. You can see the wind pattern. It wants to go this way naturally. It's already going in this direction. There's nothing pushing it up. Now it's here. It's going up through here. I mean, I don't know how it would start anyway. You got stronger winds aloft. There should be plenty of wind shear. They were talking about wind shear coming from this direction. I mean, what's the height? We're at the top. 30,000. This is our hurricane at 9,000 meters, which is that right? Oh. 29,000 feet, is that right? Yeah, 29,000 feet, 30,000 feet in the air. So that's where the airplanes fly, 24 miles an hour. Where's this hurricane? Oh, 12,000, which is 42. Feet, okay. 39,000 feet. Still only. Oh, that's stronger here. You got stronger winds aloft, pushing it back. Everything is going in that direction. This isn't even spinning like a hurricane on the 19th at that level. You can see the way the wind patterns are coming up. It's more like looking at a electromagnetic field. Like this would be the Earth, and this would be the North Pole, and then the poles are ripping out. The magnetic field lines coming out at the top, wrapping behind from the pressure behind it. Speaking of pressure, see, we had this huge make sure I don't miss anything. Document it before it's too far gone. We're at 40,000 feet, 39,000 feet. Miles an hour. It's 70 mile an hour where there is no hurricane. That's going that way. The wind was going
there. It's not like it's extra humid. $16,800 feet. So it's precipitation. According to this, it's freezing at 16,800 feet right now, the freezing level, which is above the chart, the top of the chart. I did the waves right. 22 feet, 9 feet. This is worse. This is worse Cape than this. The darker the color, the more intense the possibility of rain is. Or the more intense the thunderstorm would be. But no. It's 29.5. It keeps rising. I mean, that was substantial there. A gust, 101. I see. Interesting how it won't show you anything, huh? Look at that.
Where'd it go? What am I looking at? Where's Hawaii? Oh, no, that's a smudge. Oh, way down here. There. 19th, 2 a.m. Play. The 19th. I don't see it. We're watching the clouds, little cloud cover. Trying to see where the storm come from, and now they're trying to say there's all kinds of problems, but looking queer. I'm going to go through this a little bit. Oh, the video's off. That's good.
A powerful hurricane Lane is lashing the Big Island and Maui as it nears the state. Now, coming up in just a few minutes, we'll be getting an update from state and city officials as they discuss the latest forecasts and preparations. This is a live shot of where they will hold that news conference, so make sure you stand by. We'll take you to that news conference coming up live in just a moment. Good afternoon, I'm Sean Ching. This is a Hurricane Lane special report. We want to start by showing you some of the latest video into our newsroom. It's from the Big Island, sent to us by Ken Boyer. This is near Hilo Intermediate School in the Wainuenui area. You can see the floodwaters inching very close to a home there, so I want to thank Ken for sending that in. And also check out the incredible amount of water along the Hilo Bayfront.
This isn't good because we have a lot more rain. So because of this clogged up something just blew over there at the gas station. All kinds of smoke coming out.
And this is on the Hilo Bayfront where you can see really an incredible amount of water. We're told that a Texaco gas station is underwater there, and there was a small amount of smoke that you can see off there in the distance. Emergency crews are on the scene addressing that. It's believed that the smoke was coming from a transformer. Hawaii and Maui. And this is on the Hilo Bayfront where you can see really an incredible amount of water. We're told that counties, of course, are both currently under a flash flood warning. Airlines are beginning to cancel flights in the islands as Hurricane Lane batters the state, bringing with it heavy rains and also flooding. United Airlines has announced all flights into and out of Kahului on Friday are now canceled. Meanwhile, at least one Hawaiian Airlines flight into Kapalua from Honolulu has been canceled. Airlines are beginning to cancel. Hawaii News Now has a call into Hawaiian Airlines for a full list of their flight disruptions and cancellations. Airlines have offered travel waivers as Hurricane Lane approaches, and they have urged travelers to confirm their flight isn't canceled before heading to the airport. Well, we just learned the city and county of Honolulu will activate the island-wide outdoor siren warning system at 4 p.m. This is meant to alert the public to the potential of severe flooding from Hurricane Lane and also the possibility of damaging winds, and if it will coincide with the emergency alert system text message as well. Okay, now let's get a check with Jennifer Robbins for the latest on the storm's track. Jen?
That's right, Sean. As we take a look at the satellite image, you can see how massive this system is still. The core of the system about 300 miles wide, a little bit larger than that if you count those outer bands. That's expanding even towards Oahu and even the outer fringe towards the Garden Isle. We've been seeing a whole lot of rain, substantial over the western end of the state. We'll eventually see that, but it's been sitting over the eastern end, and that's where we do have flash flood warnings up. Also, hurricane warnings are up for Hawaii Island, Maui County, and Oahu. A hurricane watch is up for the Garden Isle, and that will continue as we go into the next several hours. Let's take a closer look at the latest track, and this is the 2 o'clock update. It has been downgraded with winds 125. It's been downgraded from those winds that were 130 gusts.
It's lagging. I want to let it catch up, but I'd like to see the video. Right?
To 160. It's moving north. Satellite image. You can see how massive this is.
The island-wide outdoor siren warning system at 4 p.m. This is meant to alert the public to the potential of severe flooding from Hurricane Lane and also the possibility of damaging winds, and if it will coincide with the emergency alert system text message as well. Okay, now let's get a check with Jennifer Robbins for the latest on the storm's track. Jen?
That's right, Sean. As we take a look at the satellite image, you can see how massive this system is still. The core of the system about 300 miles wide, a little bit larger than that if you count those outer bands. That's expanding even towards Oahu and even the outer fringe towards the Garden Isle. We've been seeing a whole lot of rain, substantial over the western end of the state. We'll eventually see that, but it's been sitting over the eastern end, and that's where we do have flash flood warnings up. Also, hurricane warnings are up for Hawaii Island, Maui County, and Oahu. A hurricane watch is up for the Garden Isle, and that will continue as we go into the next several hours. Let's take a closer look at the latest track.
How far are we talking? Let's see. Let's find out how far we are. Hawaii. What is it? Why can't I think? Google Maps. I don't know. It's not Google Maps. It's one where I can spin the globe. Anyway, we'll just go this way. I want to go. Oh, I don't want that. I want Hawaii. Hawaii. That's my scale, 50 miles to an inch. Miles to an inch. Let's just go from, let's find out what let's say this is the furthest corner out. So we'll go from Lalania Estates. Hour and 45 minutes. Distance. Oh, just limited distance. You can get in distance. If I walk. Can I bike? Yeah. Alright. I was trying to figure that out. Let's go from here to here. Trying to figure out the size of the entire span, and I should have just gone to the other Google. There we go. Drive. Why not? Why can't you? It's not.
And this is the 2 o'clock update.
Which is incorrect. Well, not incorrect, but here's what it looks like right now. And what we're saying is, I don't see a hurricane. And I've been going through the past data here. And I haven't seen the pressures. The pressures are at 1,200 millibars. Oh, not that one. That's open millibar. Oh, right here. 29.6. It's at 992 millibars. That's what it's at now. 102. That's what the current barometric pressure is. With the current barometric pressure at that. I mean, we're right down in this area. Cyclone, severe tropical storm. That certainly isn't anywhere up here. But they seem to be making a big fuss about it, like something major, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. We've got some blow up here, which looks like some of this going on. Where is this at? Is this it? Looks like some of this going on. Right here. Boom, boom, boom. This is supposed to be the hurricane. Invest is supposed to be back here, 95C. And I'm not seeing it, guys. Not seeing it, so I'm documenting all the radars right now. What do I want? Oh, I want goes. Certainly doesn't look like a hurricane. Oh, I did that one. Where's the other one? What was the one I was thinking of? Got that one off. That's not what I want. There's no storms out here. Nothing's showing up on radar. And the last update I got from the Weather Service or from FEMA, they were making it sound all drastic, but if you look at it, it just look. This is bigger. That's why I was trying to calculate the size. Look at the size of the Gulf of Mexico. Look at the size of this. Where's Hawaii? Hawaii is even smaller. So that's why I was trying to get the total length and distance. And I'll look it up yet, but come on. It's nowhere, it's not that big. I mean, they call it the Big Island, but it's tiny. You compare it with the rest. I mean, it's not a storm. I've been all over the radars for the past 14 hours nonstop.
I don't see a hurricane. I've gone all the way back to the 19th. The strongest I saw was the 19th, between the 19th and the 20th. And I'm going to capture all that data before it disappears on the live stream. And then I can correlate and combine and re-navigate that information later. But that's not, let me see. Let me do this. I should move this over though. I didn't realize that was in the way. Stay. So yeah. Look, that's like the size of the Big Island. That's bigger than the Big Island. So you're talking like a storm this big. I mean, look at the comparison. I mean, look at, that's tiny. We've seen, remember Katrina? Remember Houston over here? How big that was? What is this? This is smaller than this. Watch the radar. Is it playing? It says it's playing. I don't see any movement. There we go. Now, see, this looks like more of a scalar wave. It looks like here's the cone, or the half moon, and then it's being fed from this way. Because it's traveling, well, it's traveling north, but nothing else is showing up out here. Nothing. I know they don't have the only radar on Hawaii there, but this is from space, supposedly. Right? So where's the storm? Where? And they're showing all kinds of stuff on the weather channels and all these extra highlighted maps, and there's nothing there. Nothing there. Where'd it go? Do you see a hurricane? Does it even move like a hurricane? It doesn't even move like a hurricane. We got some scalar lines. Clearly, I mean, we got something there. There's no defined eye. This might be the eye down here. This was interesting earlier today. Wow, what? NOAA site will no longer provide Gulf East imagery for access to high resolution Gulf East imagery for those 60 waypoints. Really? Really? Yeah, there's been fishy stuff all night. I guess you can probably hear me. Yeah, it's been fishy all night, and I've that'll be for someone else on the road, I guess. And it doesn't add up. What they're showing and what I'm finding don't equal out. And the first thing that got me going was, I'm like, why are there no live streams of anybody on the island? And then I started looking. I've been watching the radar data, but I'm like, they keep talking about this thing intensifying and this, that, the other, and I don't see it. Now they got a second hurricane coming up behind it. I don't see it. But this here, oops, wrong mouse. See these waves? This one's coming in here. What I need to do, I need to look at the mimic. Where's the mimic? What is it called? Mimic map. There we go. Mimic. Real time. Oh, I don't want that. That's too real time. Let's see what this has got on it. How come I don't have this bookmarked either? Alright. Hawaii. No, these wave patterns. There's one. Slow this down. Let's see what this is doing. Well, I probably should take my face off there so I can have a copy of this. There we go. Let this cycle through again because I missed it. Hawaii over here. We have some kind of, I would call the eye at one point, right? But it pops up when these do. Scalar waves or magnetic field lines. I didn't see the ones I saw coming across on the magnetosphere. Let me try this one too. Alright. Hawaii. It'd be nice if we could zoom in on it, huh? Here's the typhoons over here on China. See the difference? Look at it. That's a hurricane. Typhoon, hurricane, same thing. What is that? Look at the size of that compared to the Gulf of Mexico and our past hurricanes. That is nothing. In fact, it's just part of the vapor loop. What else do we have here? Color scale. Oops. What's that do? Oh. Why is it? Oh, that's interesting. I already used that one. Look, this is far bigger storm over the United States. Long available water vapor. Total precipitable water. Yes, there's a lot there, but this is full length, but it's not. It's only 80% humidity when I looked. So it's not even domain. Animation, 24 hours. Let's do the last 120 hours here. This should be interesting. Do you notice anything? See my hurricanes? My typhoons? Nothing. Huge storm in the middle of the U.S. And this is, look at all that. The yellow is dry air. And, wow. Dry air. Alright, let's go to... Come on. Real time. Real time. Animation. Only 24 hours. Can't fix the speed. I find this all very peculiar. Oh, take me back. Take me back. Take me back. Back. Oh, come on, I ain't go that many. Where's the rest of it? Where's the rest of it? How come it doesn't seem like that's everything? This is what I want. Faster, slower, okay. Cyclones, a satellite perspective. Hurricane Lane. Invest Area 95C. Dropped from Sullivan And Cimarron. Top question 24. Interesting. Well, here's our storm. There's Invest 95C. That's what they're calling that. And that is Lane. And the Hawaiian Islands are right here. Okay. Alright. Hawaii. Hawaii. Wind shear. Hawaii. Here's that storm we're dealing with. It will be today. Okay, this is far more aggressive pattern. Even if it went up here, it should go this way. Just my opinion. 5-day movie. Yes, please. Why not? I just feel like really? Well, that doesn't do anything for me. I find this all very curious. I want to get this data though before it's well, I've got time. Take me back. Take me back. Hawaii. Okay, unfavorable. Unfavorable. Where's Hawaii? Our hurricane is in the unfavorable zone, right here. I was looking for invest. I think that's right here. It's right on the edge, right? So these are pushing in this way. It's the boundary line, the yellows. And this would be pushing this flow that way. Yep, yep. And
neutral, favorable. There's everything that's forming is in the unfavorable zone. That one, this one. Increasing, decreasing, increasing pressure. That's a bit fast. Here's our hurricane. Or tropical storm. Invest right here. It's showing fast. Yeah, I'm gonna complicate. Very interesting. Lower convergence. I have to go see if the other ones will work.
Yup, it's the second one. That's in the favorable zone. This is all unfavorable. And the wind is going up right up through here. Yeah. Backwards. Go backwards. Go forward. 800 to relative vorticity. Relative vorticity. My niece. And nothing available, nothing available. Previous 21st hours. Low level, low level. Let's make sure, yeah, no available. No need of available. I mean, there's a lot of models you can look at. Northeast Pacific 24 hours. Images and movies. Perfect. I see it. I guess. Alright, what's the flash have? Let's see, let's see. It's like global. Where's why? Not really global, is it? It's not too big, right? It's still global. No global from what I see. India. Impressive.
Wow, what is this? This is low level winds. There's like no wind. Right? Wrong. Could be wrong. Steering winds, that's not what I see. What is this? This is low level. This is supposed to be the invest. Which looks like it's gonna go north. Here it is. With the wind chill. See if it gets dragged up into there. What's the flash? The flash. Alright, just look at the flash. That's the same. Does it switch on me every time I do it? Ooh. Look at that. Look at that. That's that same path the sun makes. See that? This is this. Oh no, I can't remember. I'm getting tired. It's this one. Yeah. Well, it's not that. It's one of those. I hate it when I forget where it's at. I look at so many pages. Right here. Right here. Right here. Let's start another stream here. You get to that 4-hour mark, and then everything at the beginning is erased after 4 hours from the start. So you only get a 4-hour video. So you have to confirm that 4-hour mark. Well, and then we'll come back and I'll get caught up on Periscope and Twitter and all that, and then I'll continue checking all this information out and storing it. So later date. Whatever. Oh my goodness. Let's go check this out one more time. The end of this stream. Make sure it's updated. It's dissipating. 95C just blew away. Look. Right here, Invest 95C. It's gone. This is just blown apart. There's no hurricane. And I don't get paid to say that. So I'm curious to see how this is gonna develop today. So I can always sleep later. Oh, I'm getting tired. Hair's all out of place on my face. Alright, so this just does the same thing continuously. You can see less and less back here. I would think that if the radar is coming in this direction, it would be more of a shape like so, but apparently there's something here that's being blocked. That's too perfect. I mean, a radar gives a circular image. Got all this. What's out here that they're not showing us? Out here, they're not showing us any of this. They're not showing us any of this. And then look at this, widen out. It's in an unfavorable development zone. Big Island, come off. Showing us just the edge, just this portion on that. Interesting to say the least. But I'll need another coffee here in a minute anyway. Okay. I don't ever get on here. I forget where all the buttons are. Huh. I used to work with that guy. Twice my age, looks better than I do. Nothing here. Hurricane Lane takes aim. ABC News live. Let's check this out. 352. Can you load it? That doesn't look like anything we just looked at. Look how intensive they make it look. Did we see that? Did anyone see that? This is live. ABC News. Look how they make it look. Oh my goodness. Come on already. I'm almost out of minutes. This is it. This is it. This is ABC News, current satellite. It's not even moving. This is it. This is the whole thing. Right? ABC News, we're watching the satellite as the Category 3 storm launches north, dumping more than 31 inches of rain on Hawaii's Big Island and bringing catastrophic flooding. Did we just not look at everything? Where are they getting this? This is off. Look at this. Isn't right. We just looked at all the weather maps. I've been on this for 15 hours. 14, 4, 8, 12, probably 16 hours. The still picture. We're watching the satellite. Yeah. Oh, now it's gonna. I mean, they're not doing anything. The light's blinking over here. It's live. That's live. Look at that. It's live. Let me try it one more time. I think it's funny. 354. I've got to start a new stream anyway. I think that's funny. That's nothing like. Oh, so much crap. Just to make sure, you know, it's not froze up and we're actually watching a moving screen instead of just Photoshop picture. I mean, this matches goes, but there's nothing. I want to see what they're actually saying because I've already looked at all the data. So have other people. They're kind of questioning the data.
that they're giving us on TV. Oh, see, look at that's their satellite image. They can say, oh, it was spaced out. It's 3 hours 55, 3 hours 56 minutes. I gotta shut the stream off. Restart. I'll restart it in 10 minutes. We'll take a break. Refresh my coffee. Yeah, I can smell a rat pretty far away, even from Michigan. All right, see, there's nothing here. ABC News, we're watching a satellite. Yeah, 54 minutes ago, is live now. Where's the live satellite? I want to let me comment. Right, no sir. Come on, what is taking so long? I know I got 1,000 windows open, but it doesn't. I gotta restart this stream. 3 hours, 57 minutes. There we go. Where's the real image? ABC. Because it's certainly not live. Send. Send. I'm gonna send. Come on. What is going on? Come on. You bugger. Enter. 3 hours, 58 minutes. I guess it's not gonna let me post. It won't let me post. It doesn't want me to post. It wants to shut off the post. It won't even let me click on it. So much trouble. I can go backwards, no problem. Oh, there we go. Look, see? Cleared it right off. Won't even let me post. These aren't real. I don't know. Won't even let me scroll. I'll be back in 10 minutes. We gotta keep an eye on this. Something's fishy.